You are here now. Let the world fall away. Let the heavy echo of the day dissolve like mist in the rising sun of your awareness. The body sinks deeper and the breath slows. Everything you thought you needed to remember can be forgotten now because the world you came from is asleep. The people, the demands, the thoughts, and the noise are all fading into nothingness. What remains is this chamber, this still and sacred space that does not belong to time or effort or identity. You are not here to review your day or to solve a problem or to chase an outcome. You are here to create. You are here to become. Understand clearly that this is not sleep in the ordinary sense. This is not merely a pause from the exhaustion of living. This is the entry point into the only true reality there is. We call this the Chamber of Silence. Most people live their entire lives without ever truly entering this room. They go to sleep carrying the debris of the day with them. They lay their heads down on the pillow while still wearing the heavy garments of their limitations, their arguments, their worries, and their history. But tonight is different. Tonight you do not go to sleep as the person who tried and failed. You do not go to sleep as the beggar hoping for a crumb from the table of life. You enter this chamber to strip away the illusion so that you may touch the raw power of creation itself. The silence we speak of is not just the absence of noise. It is the presence of power. It is a living, breathing substance from which all things are made. Think of your consciousness as a vast ocean. During the day, the winds of circumstance and the storms of emotion whip the surface into chaotic waves. You look at the reflection in the water and you see a distorted, broken image. You believe that broken image is you, but it is not. That is just the turbulence of the outer world. To know who you really are, and to wield the power to bend reality to your will, you must let the waters settle. You must descend beneath the waves into the deep, dark stillness where the water is clear and the silence is absolute. In this chamber, we perform the first and most essential act of magic, which is the act of detachment. You must detach your awareness from your senses. Your eyes see a room that may be modest. Your ears hear the sounds of a city that may be chaotic. Your body feels the aches of a day that was hard. If you agree with these senses, you remain trapped in the world of effects. You remain a slave to what has already happened. To enter the chamber of silence effectively, you must practice a divine form of denial. You must deny the finality of what your eyes see. You must refuse to accept that the physical world is the ultimate reality. It is not. It is merely a shadow, a dead echo of your past thoughts and assumptions. Why is this silence so necessary? Why must we spend this time stripping away the noise before we can plant the seed of our desire? Imagine you are an artist trying to paint a masterpiece. If the canvas is already covered in scribbles, dirt, and old paint, you cannot create something new and beautiful. You must first wipe the canvas clean. You must return to the pristine white blankness. Your consciousness is that canvas. The chamber of silence is how we wipe the slate clean. We remove the identity of the person who is struggling. We remove the name you were given at birth. We remove the job title, the bank balance, the relationship status, and the diagnosis. We take it all off like a costume after a long play. When you take off the costume, who remains? This is the question that haunts the unawakened but liberates the master. When you are no longer the person with the problem, you become simply I am. This is the name of God. This is the secret frequency of the universe. Before you can say I am wealthy, or I am healthy, or I am loved, you must first reach the state of just I am. It is a state of pure, unconditioned awareness. It is a vacuum of potential waiting to be filled. The reason so many of your past attempts to manifest have failed is that you tried to layer a new desire on top of an old identity. You tried to put new wine into old wineskins. You tried to drag the old, limited self into the new, abundant life. It cannot be done. The doorway to the new reality is too narrow for your baggage. You must leave it at the door. So tonight, we practice the art of dying. It sounds frightening to the ego, but it is the most liberating act of the soul. We die to the old self so that the new self may be born. As you lie there, feel the boundaries of your physical body beginning to dissolve. You are not the feet that walk today. You are not the hands that work today. You are not the brain that worried today. You are a center of awareness, floating in a vast, nurturing void. This void is not empty. It is pregnant with life. It is the womb of creation. In this silence, you are connecting with the fourth dimension, the dimension of cause, where the blueprints of reality are drawn before they ever touch the earth. Let us go deeper into this stillness. There is a noise that is louder than the traffic outside or the voices of others. It is the inner noise of your own mental conversations, the arguments you are rehearsing, the justifications you are inventing, the fears you are entertaining. This inner speech is the hammer and chisel that is constantly shaping your world. If you want to change the sculpture, you must stop the hammer. You must arrest the inner motion. In this chamber of silence, we command the mind to be still. We do not fight the thoughts. We simply observe them and let them drift by like clouds in a night sky, refusing to attach our identity to them. You are the sky, not the clouds. The clouds come and go, but the sky remains eternal and untouched. As the silence deepens, you will begin to feel a shift. The heaviness of the material world lifts. You might feel a sensation of expansion, as if you are larger than the room, larger than the house, perhaps even larger than the city. This is your energy returning to its source. Every time you worry, you leak energy. Every time you react to the news, you leak power. Every time you seek validation from others, you give your sovereignty away. But here, in the chamber of silence, you are plugging the leaks. You are calling your power back to you. You are gathering your scattered energy into a focused laser beam of intent. This is why the silence is the prerequisite for the miracle. You need power to bend reality, and silence is the generator of that power. You are stepping into the Holy of Holies. In the ancient temples, there was an outer court where the people gathered, an inner court for the priests. But there was one final room, the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest could enter once a year. That room was empty. It contained only the presence of God. You are that high priest. Your bed is that Holy of Holies. When you enter it, you must leave the profane world behind. You cannot bring the gossip of the market or the logic of the scholars into this space. Logic has no place here. Reason has no authority here. In this chamber, the only law is the law of your own being. What you assume in this silence becomes the law of your life. This is the great secret that the mystics have whispered for centuries. The world you see with your open eyes is the result of what you did with your closed eyes. If you wake up to a world of chaos, it is because you fell asleep in a state of chaos. If you wake up to a world of lack, it is because you took the feeling of lack with you into the chamber. The subconscious mind is the faithful servant. It does not judge. It does not argue. It takes the feeling you hold as you drift off, and it creates a mold. It pours the energy of life into that mold, and tomorrow that mold hardens into facts and circumstances. Therefore, the most important appointment of your day is this appointment with silence. It is the time when you choose the mold for tomorrow. But before we can choose the new mold, we must ensure the old one is completely destroyed. This is why we linger here in the silence for these minutes. We are washing ourselves clean of the belief in difficulty. We are washing ourselves clean of the belief in delay. We are refusing to be impressed by appearances. The bank account says zero. In the silence, that means nothing. The doctor says impossible. In the silence, that word does not exist. The relationship is broken. In the silence, all is one and all is love. You withdraw your attention from the problem. You starve the problem of your life force. By removing your attention from the difficulty, you are actually dismantling it. You are taking away the only thing that keeps it alive, which is your awareness of it. Feel the relief of that. You do not have to fix the world. You do not have to force the solution. You only have to withdraw into the silence and become the person who already has the solution. The relief you feel in this chamber is the first sign that the transformation has begun. It is a physical sensation of letting go. The jaw unclenches, the shoulders drop, the heart rhythm smooths out. This physical relaxation is the bridge to psychological expansion. You cannot be tense and creative at the same time. Tension is a sign that you believe in the obstacle. Relaxation is a sign that you believe in the power within. As we prepare to move deeper into this journey, understand that you are now reclaiming your throne. For too long, you have lived as the victim of your own life, reacting to things that you created in your ignorance. But in the chamber of silence, ignorance is replaced by wisdom. You realize that there is no one to change but self. There is no one to blame. There is no external enemy fighting against you. The only enemy was your own undisciplined imagination. And now, in this silence, you are bringing that imagination under control. You are harnessing the wild horses of your mind. You are taking the reins. You are floating in the vast, dark, velvety potential of your own being. This darkness is not scary, it is restful. It is the darkness of the soil where the seed is planted. It is the darkness of the womb where the child is formed. It is safe here. In this place, you are protected from the opinions of others. You are immune to the statistics of the world. Here, you are the king, and your word is law. But a king does not scream. A king does not beg. A king speaks in a whisper, and his kingdom trembles to obey. This silence is that whisper. It is the loudest command you will ever give. Stay here for a moment longer. Luxuriate in the feeling of having no responsibilities. Feel the freedom of being nobody. Paradoxically, by being nobody, you become ready to be anybody you choose. By being nothing, you become ready to possess everything. This is the 0 point. This is the reset button of your universe. Every night you are given this gift, this chance to return to the void and choose a new trajectory for your life. Do not squander it by reviewing hurts and rehearsing failures. Use it to touch the face of God within you. Now that the noise has subsided, now that the body is numb and the mind is clear, you are standing on the precipice of a great change. You have separated yourself from the chaff of your day. You have distilled your essence down to the pure I am. You are now a clean vessel, ready to be filled with a new concept of self. You are ready to plant the seed that will grow into a forest of abundance. You are ready to bend reality because you are no longer part of the rigid structure of the world. You are the fluid energy that flows through it and reshapes it. The door to the old world is closed. The bridge to the new world is lowering. You are light. You are energy. You are consciousness. You are ready. In the coming moments, we will begin the work of constructing your new identity. But remember this feeling. Remember this silence. It is your sanctuary. It is your weapon. It is your home. Whenever the world becomes too much, close your eyes and return here. Return to the chamber of silence, where you are God, and the world is merely your footstool. Now, fully detached and fully aware, let us turn our faces toward the new dawn and the new self that is waiting to be born. Now that you have entered the chamber of silence, now that you have stilled the mind and detached from the sensory world, we arrive at the most critical threshold of transformation. This is the moment where most people falter because they misunderstand the nature of change. They believe they can keep their old identity and simply add a new desire on top of it. They want to remain the person they are, but possess the wealth of a king. They want to remain the person who feels unlovable, but possess the relationship of a soulmate. I tell you now with absolute certainty that this is impossible. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins. If you try, the skins will burst and the wine will be spilled. To be born anew, you must first die. This is not a physical death, but a psychological one. It is the deliberate, conscious death of the old self, the version of you that has been bound by limitations, defined by failures, and restricted by the evidence of the senses. We call this the death of the old self because it requires a funeral. You must be willing to look at the person you have been up until this moment, the one who struggled, the one who doubted, the one who identified as a victim of circumstance, and say goodbye to them forever. This old self is not you. It is merely a garment you have worn for so long that you have mistaken it for your skin. It is a collection of habits, a script of repetitive thoughts, and a record of past memories that you keep playing on a loop. Tonight, in the safety of this silence, we are going to take that garment off. We are going to lay it down. We are going to step out of the tomb of the past and walk into the light of a new concept of self. Why is this radical step necessary? Because you cannot attract what you want. You can only attract what you are. The universe does not respond to your daydreaming. It responds to your identity. If you are vibrating at the frequency of I am wanting, you will forever be kept in the state of wanting. You will chase the horizon and never reach it. To receive the blessing, you must move from the state of wanting to the state of having. But the old self does not know how to have. The old self is addicted to the struggle. The old self finds a strange comfort in the familiar pain of not enough. That is why you must kill it. You must starve it of your attention and your belief. You must withdraw your life force from that old identity until it withers and fades into nothingness. Imagine for a moment the specific character you have been playing. Let us look at him or her with honesty. This character wakes up and immediately checks the phone for validation. This character worries about bills before getting out of bed. This character replays arguments from years ago. This character defines themselves by what they do not have. I am the one who is single. I am the one who is broke. I am the one who is sick. As long as you say I am followed by these limitations, you are signing a contract with reality to keep reproducing them. You are commanding the creative power of the universe to anchor you in that state. Tonight, we tear up that contract. Tonight, we revoke the permission we gave this old self to rule over us. You must approach this with a sense of solemn determination. You are not trying to fix the old self. This is a crucial distinction. Self-improvement is a trap. We are not here to patch up the old garment or to sew a piece of new cloth onto an old rotting fabric. We are here for resurrection, and resurrection always implies a prior death. You must be willing to let the old you die completely, so that the new you, the ideal you, can rise in its place. This requires a level of brazen impudence, a boldness to deny the evidence of your senses. Your bank account may say you are poor. Your body may say you are ill. Your friends may say you are lonely. But you must look at these facts and say, these are the footprints of a dead man. I am no longer that person. As you lie in the dark, visualize this old identity as a heavy coat or a mask. It is heavy with the weight of your past history. It smells of old fears and stale disappointments. Feel the weight of it on your shoulders. And now, with a breath of release, imagine unbuttoning it. Imagine sliding it off your shoulders. Let it fall to the floor. Kick it away. Stand there in your spiritual nakedness. In this state of nakedness, you are free. You are no longer defined by your history. You are pure consciousness. You are ready to be clothed in a new concept. This is the state of I am without conditions. From this place of emptiness, you can choose to be anything. But you cannot choose a new state while you are still clutching the old one. Many of you struggle because you are double-minded. You practice these teachings for 20 minutes before sleep, but for the other 16 hours of the day, you resurrect the old dead man. You speak his words. You think his thoughts. You react with his emotions. You are trying to serve two masters, and it is tearing you apart. You cannot walk in the feeling of wealth at night and then complain about the price of coffee in the morning. That complaint belongs to the old self. When you catch yourself reacting in the old way, you must stop immediately. You must recognize that those reactions are essentially reflexes of a corpse. You must say to yourself, that is not me. That is the old man trying to survive. But I have buried him. He has no power over me. This transition requires vigilance, but tonight it begins with a surrender. The surrender is not a giving up of power, but a giving up of the struggle. The old self believes that life is hard, that money must be earned through suffering, and that love is scarce. The new self knows that you are the operant power and that creation is effortless. When you drop the old self, you drop the struggle. You stop rowing the boat against the current and you let the river of life carry you. You move from force to flow. You move from trying to make things happen to allowing them to happen through you. Let us speak of the feeling that replaces the old anxiety. If the signature emotion of the old self is worry, the signature emotion of the new self is relief. This is the secret compass that tells you if you have successfully killed the old self, relief. Think about it. If you were suddenly given $10 million right now, or if the doctor called to say it was all a mistake and you are perfectly healthy, what is the first thing you would feel? You would not be jumping up and down in excitement. That comes later. The primary, visceral feeling would be a massive exhale, a deep, profound sense of relief. The burden is gone, the weight is lifted, the fight is over. You must capture this feeling of relief tonight. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which is fundamentally a feeling of peace. The old self is addicted to adrenaline and cortisol. The new self lives in the Sabbath, the state of rest. When you have truly accepted your new identity, you do not feel anxious about whether it will manifest. You do not check for signs. You do not worry about the how or the when. A king does not worry if his meal will be served. He expects it. He rests in the knowing. This is the attitude you must adopt. You must go to sleep tonight not as a person hoping for a miracle, but as a person who is the miracle. Constructing this new identity requires you to be selective. You are walking into a divine wardrobe. You see the garment of wealth. You see the garment of health. You see the garment of love. You do not ask if you are worthy of them. You do not check the price tag. You simply put them on. You wear them. How does it feel to wear the garment of wealth? It feels secure. It feels generous. It feels relaxed. How does it feel to wear the garment of health? It feels vital. It feels light. It feels energetic. You must put these feelings on your body just as vividly as you put on your clothes in the morning. You must wear them until they feel natural. The old self will try to fight back. It will whisper doubts in your ear. It will say, "Who do you think you are? Look at your reality. You are deluding yourself." When this happens, do not fight the voice. Do not argue with it. Simply recognize it as the echo of the past. It is a ghost. It has no substance unless you give it your attention. Withdraw your attention from the doubt and place it back on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is how you kill the old self, by starving it of the one thing it needs to survive, your awareness. Tonight, you are performing a funeral service for your limitations. It is a solemn and sacred act. You are burying the person who told you that you were not good enough. You are burying the person who was afraid to fail. You are burying the person who needed validation from others. Let them go. Bless them for what they taught you, for they allowed you to survive up to this point, but realize they cannot take you where you want to go. The cocoon served the caterpillar, but it becomes a prison for the butterfly. You must break out. You must leave the shell behind. As you lie in the stillness, feel the new skin forming. Feel the new posture of your soul. The new you is not arrogant, but confident. The new you is not desperate, but magnetic. The new you does not chase, but attracts. This transformation is instantaneous in the realm of imagination. It does not take time to change your state of consciousness. You can move from the state of the beggar to the state of the king in the blink of an eye. The only thing that takes time is for the physical world to rearrange itself to match your new state. But you must remain faithful to the new state during that interval. You must not revert to the old man when you open your eyes. This is why we do this work at night, just before sleep. It is the time when the conscious mind, the guardian of the old self, is tired and less vigilant. It is the time when the door to the subconscious is wide open. If you take the old self into sleep with you, if you fall asleep worrying about the same old problems, you are essentially asking the subconscious to recreate the same old life for another day. You are reinfecting yourself every night. But if you dare to strip off the old self and enter sleep as the new being, you are planting a seed that will destroy the old weeds and grow a new garden. Feel the deep satisfaction of this change. There is a joy in it, a quiet, bubbling joy that comes from knowing the secret. You have found the escape hatch from the prison of your past. You realize that you are not your history, you are your imagination. You are not what happened to you, you are what you choose to become. This realization is the death of the victim and the birth of the creator. You must become comfortable with the void. Between the death of the old self and the full manifestation of the new self, there is a space of silence, a space where nothing seems to be happening. The old self hates this space and will try to fill it with noise and activity. The new self loves this space, knowing it is the gestation period. Trust the silence, trust the darkness. It is in the dark earth that the seed breaks open and transforms. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Do not revert to the old identity to check for results. Stay in the new assumption. Walk in it, sleep in it, bathe in it. Let us linger on the concept of spiritual nakedness. When you take off the old identity, who are you? You are the I am. You are the unconditioned awareness. This is the clay from which you will sculpt your masterpiece. Do not be afraid to be nothing for a moment. In that nothingness lies infinite possibility. When you are no specific thing, you can become anything. The old self was rigid, calcified, stuck in a form. The new self is fluid, dynamic, alive. Tonight, you return to the fluid state. You melt down the old statue so you can cast a new one. The feeling you are aiming for as you drift towards sleep is a feeling of it is finished. Not I hope it happens, but it is done. The old self hopes, the new self knows. The old self asks, the new self thanks. Shift your internal dialogue from asking to thanking. Thank you, Father, that I am now the person I wanted to be. This gratitude confirms the death of the old lack. You cannot be grateful for something you do not have. Therefore, gratitude is the ultimate proof of possession. As you prepare to move into the technique of the wish fulfilled, make sure the old self is truly dead. Do not keep him on life support with your doubts. Pull the plug. It sounds harsh, but it is the kindest thing you can do for your future. You are clearing the land to build a palace. The old shack must be demolished. Do not mourn the shack. Do not look back at the rubble. Look forward to the spires of the castle you are building in your imagination. Tonight, you go to sleep as a new being. You may lie down in the same bed, in the same room, but the internal occupant has changed. The consciousness inhabiting the body has shifted frequencies. And because the occupant has changed, the world must change. The mirror of reality has no choice but to reflect the new face you are showing it. But you must show it consistently. You must not put the old mask back on tomorrow morning because it feels safe. Safe is dangerous. Safe is stagnation. Be brave enough to walk naked until the new reality clothes you. This is the great crossover. You are leaving the land of Egypt, the land of slavery to your senses, and you are entering the promised land, the land of milk and honey, where your imagination reigns supreme. The old self belongs to Egypt. Leave him there. Do not carry his bones with you. Cross the river of your mind, light and free. You are rising. You are expanding. You are becoming the person you were always destined to be, hidden beneath the layers of fear and conditioning. Those layers are gone now. You are free. Breathe in that freedom. Breathe out the past. It is dead. You are alive. And now, as a new creation, you are ready to plant the holy seed. We arrive now at the most sacred threshold of your existence. You have entered the chamber of silence and you have shed the heavy garments of the old self. You stand naked in your spiritual power, ready to be clothed in a new reality. But how do we put on this new garment? How do we move a desire from a mere wish in the conscious mind to a concrete fact in the physical world? We do this by entering the state akin to sleep. The mystics and prophets of old spoke of this state in riddles, calling it the narrow gate or the time of the evening sacrifice. But tonight we strip away the riddle and give you the raw key to the kingdom. This is not just about relaxation. This is about entering the womb of creation where the conception of your future takes place. The state akin to sleep, or sats, is that specific, magical territory between waking and sleeping. It is a twilight zone where you are not quite awake, but you are not yet asleep. In this state, the rational mind, the part of you that doubts, analyzes, and argues, begins to grow tired. The guard at the gate is falling asleep. But the inner self, the subconscious mind, is wide open and hyper-receptive. Think of your conscious mind as a protective filter. All day long, it rejects ideas. You say, I am wealthy, and your conscious mind says, no, look at your bills. But in sats, that argumentative voice is silenced. The filter is removed. Whatever you drop into the deep well of the subconscious during this time does not hit a floor of rejection. It sinks deep into the waters of being and starts to grow. Many of you have tried to manifest and failed because you are trying to impress the subconscious while you are wide awake. You are fighting a battle against your own logic. You are shouting your affirmations against a wall of resistance. But in the state akin to sleep, the wall comes down. You can walk right in. This is why we say that sleep is the door into heaven, but you must know how to walk through it. You cannot just crash into sleep unconscious and unaware. You must glide into it with intention. You are a pilot navigating a plane from the turbulence of the air to the smooth landing on the ground. You must maintain control until the very last moment of surrender. So how do we perform this sacred act? It begins with the body. You must immobilize the physical form. Lie on your back or in a position where you will not be compelled to move. You want to reach a state where you can feel that you have a body, yet you have no desire to move it. This physical immobility is crucial because it helps to disconnect your attention from the sensory world. As the body settles, the senses grow dim. The sounds of the room fade. The weight of the blanket disappears. You are turning the lights off in the house of the body so that the light of the imagination can shine brighter. Now comes the work of the architect. You must construct a scene. This is where many go wrong. They construct long, complicated movies with multiple characters and plot twists. They get lost in the details and their mind wanders. You must be smarter than that. You must create a single, short scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. The key word is implication. You are not visualizing the process of getting there. You are visualizing the aftermath. You are standing at the finish line. What implies that your wish is fulfilled? It might be a handshake. It might be a hug. It might be hearing a specific voice say 3 simple words like, "Isn't it wonderful?" Whatever scene you choose, it must meet 2 criteria. First, it must be short enough to loop without effort. Second, and most importantly, you must be in the scene. You are not watching yourself on a movie screen. That is dissociation. You are not seeing your face. You are seeing the world from your face. You are looking out through your own eyes. If you are shaking a hand, you do not see your whole body. You see your hand extending to grasp the other person's hand. You feel the solidity of their grip. You feel the temperature of their skin. This first-person perspective is the difference between daydreaming and creating reality. When you watch yourself, you are thinking of the end. When you see from your own eyes, you are thinking from the end. Now, let the scene begin. Enter the action. Extend your hand. Hear the voice. Feel the emotion. And then do it again and again. Loop this action like a rhythmic lullaby. This is not a drill. This is not an intellectual exercise. This is a sensory immersion. You are tricking your subconscious mind into believing that this is happening right now. The subconscious is blind to the outer world. It cannot tell the difference between a physical fact and an imaginal act that is emotionally vivid. If you persist in the scene, if you give it all the tones of reality, the subconscious accepts it as a hard fact. And once accepted, it has no choice but to push that fact out into your screen of space and time. You must bring all your spiritual senses to this act. It is not just about what you see. In fact, visual clarity is less important than emotional solidity. Can you touch the furniture in your imaginal room? Is it solid? Can you smell the perfume of the person you are hugging? Can you hear the intake of their breath? These sensory details are the anchors that hold the ship of your imagination in the harbor of fulfillment. Without them, you drift back into the sea of wandering thoughts. But with them, you lock the reality in place. You are giving the subconscious a blueprint that is so detailed, so real, that it starts to build it immediately. As you loop this scene, a specific feeling will begin to rise in you. It is the feeling of reality. It is the feeling of naturalness. At first, the scene may feel artificial, like you are acting a part. But as you repeat it, the edges smooth out. The effort disappears. It starts to feel like a memory. This is the secret. You are creating a memory of the future. You are remembering an event that has not yet happened in the outer world, but is happening right now in the inner world. When the scene takes on the tones of reality, when you feel that you are actually there, you have reached the point of conception. The seed has been dropped. This is the moment of the spiritual pregnancy. Just as a physical pregnancy happens in the dark and is followed by a period of gestation, your spiritual pregnancy happens in the dark of your mind. You do not dig up a seed to see if it is growing. You trust the soil. Once you feel that thrill of it is done, once you feel the relief of the wish fulfilled, your work is effectively finished. You do not need to strain. You do not need to force. You simply need to yield. You yield to the sleep that is pulling at your eyelids. You surrender to the deep unconsciousness that waits to carry you through the night. But here is the final, crucial instruction. You must fall asleep in the action. You cannot do the visualization, stop, check your phone, worry about tomorrow, and then go to sleep. That breaks the spell. That aborts the seed. You must let the visualization be the bridge that carries you from waking to sleeping. You must be doing the action, feeling the feeling, right up until the moment consciousness fades. You slip from the imaginal act of wealth directly into the unconscious sleep of wealth. You slip from the imaginal act of health directly into the unconscious sleep of health. By doing this, you are handing the baton to the subconscious at the very moment of transition. Imagine your subconscious mind is a vast factory that works all night long to produce the circumstances of your life. The last instruction you give the foreman before the factory closes for the night is the order that will be produced. If you give the order of worry, the factory produces problems. If you give the order of fulfillment, the factory produces miracles. Sats is how you hand the order form to the foreman. You stamp it with the seal of your feeling, you hand it over in the twilight of sleep, and then you step back and let the power greater than you do the work. Do not underestimate the power of this passive state. The world teaches you that power is in action, in aggression, in making things happen with your hands. But I tell you that true power is in yielding. True power is in the silence. When you are in Sats, you are harnessing the same power that spins the planets and grows the forests. You are aligning yourself with the creative engine of the universe. It is effortless, but it requires focus. It requires the discipline to keep the mind on the tracks of the wish fulfilled and not let it derail into the ditch of anxiety. If you find your mind wandering, if you find yourself thinking about the grocery list or the argument you had at work, do not beat yourself up. That is just the old habit pattern. Gently bring your attention back to the scene. Start the loop again. You are training a wild animal. You must be firm but gentle. No, not that thought. This thought, not that feeling. This feeling. Bring it back to the handshake. Bring it back to the voice. Bring it back to the feeling of the ring on your finger. Eventually, the mind will tire of rebelling and will surrender to the rhythm you have set. The feeling you are aiming for is not excitement. Excitement implies that the thing is new and surprising. You want the feeling of satisfaction, the feeling of course, it should feel natural. It should feel like something that belongs to you. When you wear a new pair of shoes, you are aware of them. When you wear old, comfortable shoes, you forget them. You want to reach the state where your desire feels like old, comfortable shoes. It fits you perfectly. It is who you are. The subconscious does not work well with desperation. It works with conviction. And conviction is quiet. Conviction is calm. Think of Sats as the time of the evening sacrifice. You are sacrificing the old man. You are sacrificing the evidence of the senses. And you are offering up the new man as a living reality. You are saying to the universe, this is who I am. I am not asking to be this. I am declaring that I am this. And because you are saying it in the language of the subconscious, which is feeling and imagery, the universe understands. The universe obeys. You are not begging a God outside of you. You are commanding the God within you. As you drift closer to the cliff edge of sleep, you might feel a sense of expansion or a feeling of floating. This is good. It means the body is asleep, but the spirit is awake. In this floaty, dreamlike state, your thoughts are like thunderclaps in the subconscious. They are powerful beyond measure. A single thought of thank you in this state is worth 10,000 hours of hard labor in the waking world. Use this time wisely. Do not squander these precious minutes before sleep. They are the golden coins with which you purchase your future. You may ask, how do I know if I have done it right? You will know by how you wake up. If you have successfully planted the seed in Sats, you will wake up with a sense of peace. You will wake up feeling that something has shifted. You may not see the money on the table instantly, but you will feel rich. You will feel secure. You will not have the urge to check the phone or look for signs. You will have the quiet confidence of the person who knows the package is in the mail. The anxiety will be gone. The desperation will be replaced by a Sabbath rest. This technique is the master key. It opens every door. It dissolves every wall. It bridges every chasm. No matter how impossible your situation looks in the three-dimensional world, it is fluid and malleable in the state akin to sleep. You can revise a diagnosis. You can rewrite a bank balance. You can reconstruct a relationship. Nothing is set in stone. Everything is made of consciousness, and consciousness is reshaped in the night. You are the potter, and the Sat session is your time at the wheel. Do not let a single night pass without using this power. It is your birthright. It is the gift given to you by the Creator so that you may become a conscious creator yourself. Why sleep as a victim when you can sleep as a victor? Why sleep as a beggar when you can sleep as a king? The choice is made in those few minutes before you lose consciousness. Choose wisely. Choose the scene that implies the best for you and for others. Choose the feeling of nobility, of grace, of abundance. Tonight, you will enter this womb of creation, not with fear, but with anticipation. You know what to do now. You immobilize the body. You construct the scene. You loop the action. You feel the reality, and you slip into sleep while holding that reality close to your heart. You are impregnating the silence with your love, with your desire, with your hope turned into fact. And just as surely as the sun rises in the east, your world will rise to meet the standard you have set in the night. This is the great secret of the ages. It is simple, yet it requires practice. Do not be discouraged if your mind wanders the first few times. Bring it back. Persistence is the price of victory. Keep bringing the mind back to the scene until it feels like the only reality there is. When the inner world feels more real than the outer world, you have crossed the threshold. You have entered the promised land. You have touched the hem of the garment of God. So, as you prepare to enter this state tonight, remember that you are not alone. The entire universe is conspiring to help you. All of creation is waiting on tiptoe to see what you will command. The stars, the tides, the people, the events, they are all waiting for the script that you will write in the silence of your own heart. Write a good script. Write a script of love and dignity and freedom. And then, trust the darkness. Trust the sleep. Trust the God within, who never slumbers and never sleeps, but who watches over your word to perform it. It is done. The seed is planted. The harvest is sure. Before we move into the art of ignoring the physical world, I invite you to pause for a brief moment. If you are finding value in this masterclass, if you feel the stirrings of the giant within you, then take a second to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you are not just clicking a button. You are signaling to yourself and to the universe that you are dedicated to this path of awakening. Join our community of conscious creators. Let this channel be your sanctuary where you return to remember your power. Now, having committed to your growth, let us face the greatest challenge of all, the illusion of the three-dimensional world. You have planted the seed in the silence of the night. You have entered the state akin to sleep, and you have felt the reality of your wish fulfilled. You have successfully impregnated the subconscious mind with the pattern of your new life. But now comes the morning. Now comes the moment when the alarm rings, and you open your physical eyes to a world that looks exactly the same as it did yesterday. This is the great test. This is the moment where the master is separated from the student and the creator is separated from the dreamer. The bank account still shows the old balance. The body still feels the old ache. The person you love is still absent. The house is still small. The world of Caesar, the world of the three-dimensional senses, is screaming at you that nothing has changed. It demands your attention. It demands your agreement. It demands that you bow down and worship the facts. But I tell you now that if you bow down to the facts of the 3D world, you are killing the seed you planted in the night. You are digging it up before it has had a chance to break the soil. To bend reality to your will, you must understand the true nature of the 3D world. The world you see around you is not the cause, it is the effect. It is a mirror. If you look in a mirror and see a smudge of dirt on your face, you do not try to rub the smudge off the glass. You would be scrubbing that glass forever, and the reflection would never change. You must wipe the dirt off your own face, and then, instantly, the mirror reflects the cleanliness. The 3D world is that mirror. It is a delayed reflection of your past thoughts, your past moods, and your past assumptions. When you look at your current circumstances, you are looking at a dead world. You are looking at the fossilized remains of who you used to be. Why would you give power to a fossil? Why would you let a dead echo dictate your living future? To react to the 3D world is to be trapped in a feedback loop where you keep recreating the past because you keep reacting to it. This requires a stance that we call brazen impudence. This is not arrogance toward others, it is a spiritual defiance toward circumstances. It is the audacity to stand in the midst of lack and deny its reality. It is the courage to stand in the face of sickness and claim wholeness. This is not delusion. Delusion is believing that the shadow is the object. Sanity is knowing that the object casts the shadow. You are the object. Your imagination is the reality. The physical world is just a shadow cast by your imagination. When the shadow does not match your desire, you do not fight the shadow. You change the object. You change your inner stance. Brazen impudence means you do not take no for an answer from your senses. Your senses are notorious liars. They only tell you what is, not what can be. They are limited to the spectrum of the visible, but you are operating in the spectrum of the invisible infinite. You must learn to walk through your day with a dual consciousness. One part of you handles the mundane tasks of life. You pay the bills, you wash the dishes, you drive the car. But the deeper part of you, the high watchman of your soul, remains anchored in the reality of the wish fulfilled. When the mail comes and brings a bill you cannot pay, the old man would react with fear. The old man would contract in worry. But you are no longer the old man. You look at the bill and you see it through the eyes of the wish fulfilled. You say to yourself that this is just a remnant of the past. It is a shell. It has no life unless I give it life. You withdraw your attention from the lack. You remember the feeling of wealth you generated in the night. You supersede the visible fact with the invisible truth. This is how you starve the old reality. You deny it the one thing it needs to survive, which is your emotional reaction. This brings us to the great technical secret of this work, which is the law of reversibility. This is a principle of physics and a principle of spirit. The law states that if a physical fact can produce a psychological state, then that psychological state can produce the physical fact. The flow of energy is reversible. Let us break this down. If you were to receive a massive promotion at work today, that physical event would produce a specific feeling in you. It might be a feeling of pride, of security, of excitement. The event causes the feeling. That is how the average person lives. They wait for the event to give them the feeling. But the master knows the law is reversible. If you can generate the feeling of security, pride, and excitement without the event, then the law requires that the event must follow the feeling. The universe is a balanced equation. You cannot have one side of the equation without the other eventually appearing to balance it out. If you hold the feeling of the end, the means to that end must materialize. You do not need to know how the promotion will come. You do not need to know how the money will arrive. You only need to maintain the feeling that it has already arrived. The feeling is the cause, the fact is the effect. Most people have this backwards. They think the fact is the cause. They say, I will feel happy when I am rich. The spiritual law says, feel rich and you will become happy, and then the riches will manifest to testify to your state. You must be willing to reverse the natural order of the world. You must be willing to feel the result before the cause appears. This practice transforms your daily life into a stage play. You are the actor. When you are acting a part, you do not wait for the audience to tell you who you are. You assume the character. If you are playing a king, you walk like a king, you speak like a king, you sit like a king. You do not check your pockets to see if you have a royal treasury. You assume the dignity of the role. The law of reversibility asks you to act the part of the person you wish to be. But this is not just empty acting, it is acting with the conviction of feeling. You must wear the mood of the wish fulfilled. If you desire health, ask yourself how you would feel if you were perfectly healthy right now. You would feel energetic. You would feel light. You would not be complaining about your symptoms. So, beginning today, you reverse the flow. You stop complaining. You start moving with energy. You summon the feeling of vitality from within. By doing so, you are engaging the gears of the law of reversibility, and the health must appear. But be warned of the trap of the double mind. You cannot apply the law of reversibility for 10 minutes and then spend the rest of the day reinforcing the old reality. This is where most people fail. They plant the seed in the morning and then they dig it up at noon to see if it has roots. Every time you react to the 3D world with fear or anger or disappointment, you are digging up your seed. You are telling the universe that the 3D world is more real than your imagination. You are neutralizing your own power. To ignore the 3D world means to withdraw your consent from it. You look at the problem and you say, I do not consent to this being my final reality. It may be a fact for the moment, but it is not the truth. Facts change. Truth is eternal. And the truth is what you have imagined in the silence. There is a profound discipline required here. It is the discipline of inner silence, in the midst of outer noise. When someone brings you bad news, you must hear it with your outer ears, but deny it with your inner ears. You must listen without accepting. You must observe without absorbing. This is what it means to be in the world, but not of it. You are walking through the landscape of the 3D world, but your citizenship is in the kingdom of imagination. You do not let the mud of the world stick to your shoes. You shake it off. You return instantly to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you slip, and you will slip, do not condemn yourself. Simply correct yourself. Return to the feeling. Replay the scene of the end. Re-establish the law. Think of an architect standing in an empty, weed-filled lot. The neighbors see trash and dirt, but the architect sees a towering skyscraper. He sees the glass, the steel, the lobby, the people working in the offices. Who is seeing the truth? The neighbors are seeing the present fact, but the architect is seeing the future reality. If the architect continues to hold his vision and applies the laws of construction, the skyscraper will replace the weeds. You are the architect of your life. The 3D world is just the construction site. It may look messy right now. It may look empty, but do not judge the site by the debris. Judge it by the blueprint you are holding in your heart. The blueprint is the only thing that matters. The debris is temporary. It is being cleared away by the invisible crews of your subconscious mind even as we speak. The law of reversibility is your tool for clearing that debris. By holding the feeling of the finished building, you summon the forces that will build it. If you abandon the feeling, the construction stops. This is why persistence is key. Persistence is not physical effort. It is not working harder in the 3D world. Persistence is the refusal to let go of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, despite the evidence of the senses. It is walking by faith, not by sight. Sight is for the 3D world. Faith is for the 4D world. And since the 4D creates the 3D, faith is the superior faculty. Let us go deeper into the specific application of this. Suppose you desire a specific relationship. The 3D world shows you an empty bed. It shows you silence on your phone. It shows you lonely weekends. If you engage with this 3D evidence, you will feel lonely. That feeling of loneliness is a command to the universe to bring you more loneliness. You are using the law of reversibility against yourself. You are letting the fact produce the feeling, which produces more of the fact. Stop the wheel. Reverse it. Summon the feeling of being loved. Summon the feeling of companionship. Sleep as if you are not alone. Walk as if you are cherished. Wear the ring in your imagination until you can feel it on your finger. By sustaining this feeling, you reverse the wheel. The feeling of being loved must produce the evidence of love. The person must appear. The phone must ring. The bed must be filled. The law cannot be broken. It is as certain as gravity. The only variable in this equation is you. The law is constant. The variable is your ability to ignore the contradiction of the senses. Can you stand in the face of the opposite and maintain your ground? This is the test of the master. When the storm rages, the master does not scream at the wind. The master goes within and finds the stillness. And from that stillness, the outer storm is calmed. You must become the master of your own attention. Your attention is your currency. Do not spend it on things you do not want. Do not spend it on the news that depresses you. Do not spend it on the friend who complains constantly. Withdraw your investment. Place your attention only on the things that align with your wish fulfilled. This practice of ignoring the 3D is not a passive denial. It is an active creation. Every time you turn away from the evidence of lack and tune into the frequency of abundance, you are actually restructuring the atoms of your future. You are collapsing the timeline. You are bringing the future into the now. The 3D world is slow, it is dense. It takes time to turn a large ship. Do not be impatient if the ship does not turn the instant you spin the wheel. The momentum of the past is still pushing it forward. But if you hold the wheel steady, if you hold the feeling of the new direction, the ship must turn. It has no choice. The momentum of the past will exhaust itself, and the momentum of your new assumption will take over. You must also understand that the people in your 3D world are only messengers. They are echoing your past thoughts. If they are treating you with disrespect, it is because you have carried a feeling of unworthiness. Do not fight the messenger. Do not argue with them. Change the message. Go within and revise your concept of self. Assume the feeling of dignity. Assume the feeling of being respected. When you change the inner script, the actors on the stage of your life must change their lines. They will either treat you differently, or they will leave the stage to be replaced by new actors who reflect your new state. This is the power of the law of reversibility. You change the inner feeling, and the outer behavior of others changes to match it. So, as you move through your day, treat the 3D world as a lucid dream. In a lucid dream, you know that the monsters are not real. You know that you can fly if you want to. You know that the walls are illusions. Treat your waking life with the same playfulness. When a wall of obstruction appears, smile at it. Know that it is a shadow. Know that you can walk through it in your imagination, and if you do so, a door will open in the physical. Do not take the 3D world so seriously. It is a game of mirrors. It is a playground for the gods. And you are a god in the making, learning to wield your power. The law of reversibility is your magic wand. It turns the world upside down. It says that the tail can wag the dog. It says that the fruit can create the root. It says that the end can create the means. Use this law. Test it. Challenge it. See if you can produce a change in your environment simply by changing your mood. I promise you that you can. But you must be consistent. You must be brazen. You must be obstinate in your refusal to accept anything less than your ideal. Do not let the sunset find you still reacting to the day. Before the sun goes down, detach from the 3D evidence. Return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Wash yourself clean of the sensory data. Re-enter the state of the architect. Hold the blueprint high. The world is built by those who have the courage to ignore what is and the vision to see what could be. Be one of those builders. Be one of those who bend reality. The 3D world is dead. Long live the imagination. We have walked through the silence. We have buried the old man. We have planted the seed in the sleep of the night, and we have learned to turn our backs on the false evidence of the senses. Now we arrive at the very heart of the operation, the spiritual engine that drives all manifestation. We must speak of prayer, but we must speak of it not as the world speaks of it, but as the masters know it. For centuries, you have been taught to pray as a beggar. You have been taught to look up at a sky of empty blue and plead with a distant God to change your circumstances. You have cried out in the night. You have bargained. You have promised to be better if only this one burden could be lifted. And the silence has been your only answer. Why is this so? Is God deaf? Is the universe indifferent? No. The answer lies in the state from which you pray. You have been praying from the state of lack, and the law of the universe is absolute. You cannot be heard when you speak from separation. To understand true prayer, you must undergo a radical shift in identity. You must move from the consciousness of the beggar to the consciousness of the king. This is not a shift in your bank account or your social status. It is a shift in your spiritual posture. A beggar believes that power is outside of him. He believes that supply is limited, and that he must convince a reluctant deity to give him a crumb from the table of life. His prayer is a vibration of desperate need. And because the universe is a mirror that reflects your inner state, the vibration of I need can only produce more need. The beggar prays for money and stays poor because his prayer affirms his poverty. The beggar prays for love and stays lonely because his prayer affirms his isolation. You cannot rise above the state of your own consciousness. If you pray as a victim, you will remain a victim, for your prayer is essentially a confirmation of your victimhood. Now, contrast this with the king. I use the word king not to denote gender, but to denote sovereignty. A king does not beg, a king does not plead. A king does not wonder if he is worthy of the food on his table or the roof over his head. A king assumes, he expects, he knows that the kingdom belongs to him by right of birth. When a king desires something, he does not ask for it. He appropriates it. He claims it. He assumes the feeling of having it, and the world arranges itself to deliver it. This is the posture you must adopt. True prayer is not the act of asking for what you do not have. True prayer is the act of accepting what is already yours. It is the bold appropriation of the wish fulfilled. It is the movement of the soul into the feeling of possession. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight. Prayer is not a petition, it is a position. It is a position of authority. When you enter the silence to pray, you are not trying to convince God to give you something. You are aligning yourself with the God within you who has already given you everything. The creation is finished. Every possible version of your life already exists in the fourth dimension. The version of you that is wealthy exists. The version of you that is healthy exists. The version of you that is loved exists. True prayer is simply the act of stepping into that version and wearing it until it becomes your natural state. It is an act of tuning your frequency to the reality that is already broadcasting. You do not create the reality, you receive it, and you receive it by becoming it. Let us explore the paradox that baffles the uninitiated. To him who has, more will be given. To him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. On the surface, this sounds cruel and unjust. Why would the universe take from the poor and give to the rich? But this is not a judgment on your finances. It is a description of a spiritual law. It is the law of consciousness. To him who has the feeling of abundance, more abundance will be given. To him who has the feeling of lack, even the little he has will be drained away. The universe does not care about your moral worthiness. It cares about your vibrational accuracy. If you want to receive, you must first have. You must have the feeling of the wish fulfilled before the wish can materialize in the outer world. You must become the person who has the thing before the thing can find you. So how do we pray like a king? We start by changing our internal dialogue. The beggar says, "Please, God, I hope this happens." The king says, "Thank you, Father, that thou hast heard me." The shift is from hope to gratitude. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. You cannot be genuinely grateful for something you do not believe you have. Therefore, when you give thanks before the evidence appears, you are signaling to the subconscious mind that the event has already taken place. Gratitude bridges the gap between the invisible desire and the visible manifestation. It creates a vacuum in the universe that must be filled by the object of your gratitude. When you walk through your day saying, "Thank you for my perfect health," even while your body aches, you are overriding the sensory evidence with spiritual truth. You are asserting your kingship over the rebellion of the cells. This form of prayer requires a disciplined imagination. You must enter the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell there. This means you do not visit the state like a tourist, you inhabit it like a native. A tourist visits a palace, looks around, takes photos, and then goes back to his small hotel room. A king lives in the palace. He sleeps there, he eats there, he wakes up there. Most people are tourists in the land of their dreams. They visit the feeling of wealth for 10 minutes in meditation, and then they return to the consciousness of poverty for the rest of the day, and they wonder why their prayers are not answered. You must dwell in the state. You must make the feeling of the wish fulfilled your habitual dwelling place. You must view the world from the balcony of the palace, not from the gutter of the street. Imagine you are standing before a great banquet table. The table is groaning with every food imaginable. The beggar stands at the door, hat in hand, afraid to enter, wondering if he has the right to eat. The king walks in, sits at the head of the table, and begins to feast. The food is the same. The location is the same. The only difference is the concept of self. You must cultivate the concept of self that says, I am worthy because I exist. You do not need to earn your good. You do not need to struggle for it. It is your inheritance. The only price you pay for your dream is the abandonment of your old limitations. You must pay with the death of the beggar so that the king may live. When you pray, do not repeat empty words. The universe is not impressed by your vocabulary. It is impressed by your feeling. You can say the most beautiful words in the world, but if you feel desperate, you will manifest desperation. Conversely, you can say nothing at all, but if you sit in the silence and feel the deep, warm satisfaction of the wish fulfilled, you will manifest fulfillment. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. It is the coin of the realm. You must spend your feelings wisely. Do not spend them on worry. Do not spend them on fear. Invest them in the feeling of the end. How would you feel if your prayer were answered right now? Capture that feeling. Sustain it. That feeling is the answered prayer. The external event is just the echo. There is a boldness required here. You must be willing to dare. You must dare to assume you are the person you want to be, even when your reason denies it. Reason is the voice of the beggar. It calculates. It measures. It looks at the limited resources and says, it is not enough. Imagination is the voice of the king. It creates. It expands. It looks at the empty field and sees the harvest. You must learn to silence the accountant in your head and listen to the artist. The accountant will tell you all the reasons why it cannot happen. The artist will simply paint the picture of it happening and step into it. True prayer is an act of artistic creation. You are sculpting your future with the clay of your consciousness. Let us look at the practical application of this. When you have a desire, do not bow your head in shame. Lift your head, close your eyes, and withdraw your attention from the problem. The problem belongs to the beggar. Leave it with him. Turn your attention inward to the solution. What does the solution feel like? Does it feel like relief? Does it feel like joy? Does it feel like security? Wrap yourself in that feeling. Breathe it in. Let it saturate your nervous system. Say to yourself, it is done. I am that. Do not ask how. The how is the domain of the universe. The what is your domain. When a king issues a decree, he does not worry about how the messengers will deliver it. He trusts his infrastructure. You must trust the infrastructure of the universe. It knows ways and means that you know not of. Your job is to issue the decree through the authority of your assumption. This shift from beggar to king dissolves the anxiety of waiting. The beggar is always waiting. He is waiting for the check to come, waiting for the phone to ring, waiting for the diagnosis to change. Waiting is a state of lack. It implies that you do not have it yet. The king never waits. He occupies. He occupies the state of having. Even if the physical manifestation has not yet appeared, the king enjoys the internal possession of it. He walks around with the secret knowledge that it is his. This inner possession is so satisfying that the anxiety of the outer delay evaporates. And paradoxically, the moment you stop waiting and start occupying, the outer manifestation rushes to meet you. You become magnetic. Need repels, having attracts. You must also understand that your prayer is always answered. It is just not always answered in the way you expect, because you are looking at your words instead of your state. You pray for wealth, but you remain in the state of poverty. The universe answers your state and gives you more poverty. You think your prayer failed. No, your prayer worked perfectly. It just answered your true prayer, which was your feeling of lack, not your spoken prayer of wealth. This is why you must become master of your moods. Your mood is your prayer. You are praying without ceasing because you are feeling without ceasing. If you are walking around in a mood of irritation, you are praying for more things to irritate you. If you are walking around in a mood of gratitude, you are praying for more things to be grateful for. The king controls his mood. He chooses his atmosphere. He does not let the world dictate his internal weather. The true prayer is the prayer of union. It is the recognition that you and your desire are one. You are not separate from your good. Your good is not in a distant city or a future time. It is here. It is now. It is you. When you pray, you are celebrating this union. You are merging with your desire. You are consuming it. You are becoming one with it until there is no you and the desire, but only the fulfilled you. This is the mystical marriage. The beggar stands outside the wedding feast. The king is the bridegroom. Enter the feast. Eat, drink, enjoy the union. Do not let the evidence of the senses turn you back into a beggar. The senses will try. They will come to you with their reports of failure. They will show you the empty bank account and say, look, you are fooling yourself. You must look at that report and say, that is a lie. That is the old report. I have issued a new decree. You must hold your ground. The king does not abdicate his throne just because there is a riot in the street. He asserts his authority until order is restored. You must assert your imaginal authority until the chaos of your life aligns with your vision. This requires persistence. It requires a spiritual backbone. The beggar is spineless. He collapses at the first sign of trouble. The king stands firm. Every night, as you enter the silence, you have a choice. You can curl up on the floor as the beggar, rehearsing your woes, licking your wounds, hoping for a better tomorrow, or you can ascend the steps to the throne. You can sit down in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You can survey your kingdom with the eye of satisfaction. You can feel the weight of the crown of your divinity. The choice is yours. No one forces you to be a beggar. You volunteer for the role every time you agree with your limitations. Tonight, resign from that role. Tear up the script. Pick up the scepter of your imagination and rule your world. Remember, the world is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the face of the one who looks into it. If the beggar looks, the world reflects poverty. If the king looks, the world reflects abundance. The mirror has no choice. It is neutral. It is you who must change. You do not change the reflection by breaking the mirror. You change the reflection by changing your face. Change your countenance. Smile with the inner knowing of the wish fulfilled. Walk with the stride of someone who owns the ground they walk on. Speak with the authority of someone whose word is law. This is the true prayer. It is a living, breathing, walking prayer. It is the prayer of being. As you practice this, you will find that the heaviness of life lifts. The struggle disappears. You are no longer trying to move mountains with a teaspoon. You are commanding the mountains to move with a word, and they obey. You realize that the struggle was only necessary because you were trying to do the work of God with the hands of a man. But when you assume the state of the king, you are letting the God within you do the work. You are resting in the power of the I am. This is the Sabbath. This is the peace that passes understanding. It is the peace of the king who knows his kingdom is secure. So, rise from your knees. Stop pleading. Stop begging. Dust off your knees and stand up. Enter the throne room of your own heart. Sit down. Feel the reality of your power. Issue your decree in the silence of your imagination. I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am free, and do not waver. Do not look back, for you are the king, and your word is the only reality that matters. The world is waiting for your command. Give it, and watch the glory of your kingdom unfold before your very eyes. This is the way of the Master. This is the path of the true prayer. This is your destiny. Claim it now. We have now ascended the throne of the King. We have learned to pray not as beggars but as sovereigns who claim their inheritance. But even a king must deal with the history of his kingdom. Even a master must address the trails of the past. You may be standing in your authority now, but what of the mistakes you made yesterday? What of the argument that left a bitter taste in your mouth this morning? What of the rejection letter that arrived in the mail last week? Most people believe that the past is a statue made of granite, fixed, unchangeable, and eternal. They believe they must carry the weight of their history on their backs forever, dragging the chains of their failures into their future. But I tell you now that this is the greatest lie of the three-dimensional world. The past is not fixed. The past is fluid. The past is nothing more than a memory, and memory is simply imagination functioning in the past tense. If imagination creates reality, then by changing your memory, you change your reality. This brings us to the most powerful, yet most neglected tool in the spiritual toolbox. It is the art of revision. Think of your mind as a garden. In this garden, you are constantly planting seeds every moment of the day. Some seeds are intentional, planted with love and hope. But many seeds are weeds, planted by reaction, anger, fear, and disappointment. If you let these weeds grow, they will choke the flowers of your desire. They will consume the nutrients of your life force. Most people look at their garden at the end of the day, see the weeds of an argument or a failure, and say, well, that happened. It is a fact. I must live with it. They go to sleep with the weeds still in the ground, and in the night, the subconscious mind waters those weeds. By morning, they have grown into a thicket of future obstacles. Revision is the act of taking out your pruning shears at the end of the day and cutting off the weeds before they can take root. You are not a slave to your history. You are the author of it, until now. You have been writing your autobiography with a pen that you thought could not be erased. You thought that once the ink was dry, the chapter was closed. But you are operating in the realm of the spirit, and in the spirit, the ink never dries. You can go back to any page, to any scene, to any sentence of your day, and rewrite it. This is not delusion. This is not suppressing the truth. This is the highest form of spiritual truth, because it aligns the events of time with the ideals of eternity. When you revise a negative event, you are redeeming it. You are releasing the energy that was trapped in that negativity and transmuting it into power. Let us look at the practical application of this. At the end of every day, before you enter the silence of sleep, you must perform this sacred review. Do not judge yourself. Do not condemn yourself for the mistakes of the day. Simply observe. Play the film of your day backwards in your mind. Look at the moments where you reacted with fear. Look at the conversation where you lost your temper. Look at the news that made your heart sink. These are the weeds. Now, take your imaginary pruning shears and cut them. But do not just cut them, replace them. Rewrite the scene. If you had an argument with your spouse, do not just regret it. Go back into your imagination and replay the scene, but this time, change the script. Hear them say the words you wanted them to say. Hear yourself responding with patience and love. Feel the embrace that should have happened. Replay this new version over and over again. Give it all the sensory vividness of reality. Feel the warmth of their hand. See the smile on their face. Do this until the new version feels more real than the old version. Do this until the anger in your heart dissolves and is replaced by relief. By doing this, you are neutralizing the cause. And if the cause is neutralized, the effect cannot appear in your future. You have stopped the cycle of conflict. Consider the rejection letter or the bill you could not pay. In the physical world, the paper sits on your desk. But in the mental world, you have the power to alter the text. Close your eyes and see the letter again. But this time, see it as an acceptance letter. See the check instead of the bill. Feel the thrill of reading the good news. Let your heart race with excitement. By revising this physical fact, you are changing the vibration you are sending out into the universe. You are telling the subconscious, this is the truth. The other was a mistake. This is what really happened. And the subconscious, which responds only to your feeling, will accept this new version as the blueprint for tomorrow. Some will say this is lying to oneself. They will say you must face facts. But I ask you, what facts? The facts of misery? The facts of limitation? Why would you worship facts that destroy your happiness? You are here to transcend facts, not to bow to them. You are here to create truth, not just record history. Revision is the act of forgiveness in its most radical form. True forgiveness is not saying, "I forgive you for hurting me," while remembering the hurt. True forgiveness is wiping the record clean so that the hurt no longer exists. It is total amnesia of the evil by the complete replacement with the good. When you revise a person's behavior, you are actually freeing them to be a better version of themselves in your world. You are lifting the curse you placed on them. Think of the timeline of your life not as a straight line carved in stone, but as a rope made of many strands. Every time you revise an event, you are unbraiding the dark strand and weaving in a golden one. You are literally changing your past. And because the present is the child of the past, when you change the parent, you change the child. You will find that after you revise an argument, the other person will wake up the next morning treating you with kindness, often without knowing why. They are responding to the shift in your energy. You have changed the script, and they are merely actors following your direction. If you do not revise, you are forcing them to play the same villain role again and again. Revision liberates you, and it liberates them. This practice requires diligence. It is easy to wallow in the self-pity of a bad day. It is easy to call your friend and complain about what happened. It is easy to solidify the bad news by repeating it. But the king does not complain. The king corrects. The king does not accept a report of failure from his generals. He sends it back and demands a victory. You must have that same attitude toward your day. If the day brought you failure, reject it. Revise it into success. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Do not take the vibration of failure into the holy chamber of sleep. If you do, you are using the power of sats to multiply your misery. You must cleanse the day before you sleep. Revision is that cleansing bath. Imagine a world where you never carry baggage. A world where every morning is truly a new beginning because you have resolved the conflicts of yesterday in the silence of the night. This is the freedom that revision offers. It creates a vacuum of peace in your soul, and nature abhors a vacuum. Into that peace, new blessings must flow. If you are filled with the debris of past regrets, there is no room for the new vision. You must prune the vine to make space for the new grapes. You must cut away the dead wood of what was to allow the green shoot of what will be to emerge. There is a mystical aspect to this as well. When you revise the past, you are actually traveling in time. You are stepping out of the linear progression of seconds and minutes and entering the eternal now. In the eternal now, all events exist simultaneously. The version of the day where you failed exists, and the version of the day where you succeeded exists. They are both standing there, like clothes in a closet. Revision is simply the act of taking off the dirty shirt of failure and putting on the clean shirt of success. You are choosing which version of reality you will energize with your memory. You are selecting your timeline. Let us go deeper into the technique. It works best if you take the events of the day in reverse order. Start with the evening, then the afternoon, then the morning. This breaks the logical chain of cause and effect in your mind and makes it easier to edit the scenes. As you review, you will feel a little sting when you hit a negative memory. That sting is your signal. That is where the energy is trapped. That is where the weed is growing. Stop there. Do not run from the sting. Enter it, dissolve it by rewriting it. Play the new scene. Does it still sting? If yes, do it again. Make the new scene brighter, louder, more loving. Do it until the sting is gone and is replaced by a feeling of relief. When you can think of the event and feel peace, you know the revision is complete. You have successfully pruned the vine. This is not just about fixing bad days. You can revise mediocre days into great days. You can revise a good income into a lavish income. You can revise a healthy checkup into a glowing report of perfect vitality. Why settle for okay? Why settle for good enough? You are the creator. Exalt your life. Raise the standard. Use the pruning shears to shape your life into a work of art. Do not just let the garden grow wild. Cultivate it, shape it, direct it. The difference between a weed patch and a royal garden is the use of the pruning shears. Many of you carry traumas from years ago. You think, I can revise today, but what about the childhood pain? What about the betrayal from 10 years ago? The principle is the same. The distance in time means nothing to the spirit. If the memory still hurts today, it is active today. It is alive now. Therefore, it can be revised now. Go back to that child. Go back to that moment. Rewrite it. Give the child the love they needed. Give the younger you the victory they deserved. It may take more repetition for these deep-rooted weeds, but they will yield. They must yield. The power of your imagination is greater than any scar. You can heal the past. You can rewrite your history. You can become a person who had a happy childhood, even if the facts say otherwise. And as you do this, you will feel a heavy burden lift from your shoulders, a burden you perhaps didn't even know you were carrying. The ripple effect of this practice is profound. When you change your past, you change your future trajectory. Imagine a ship sailing across the ocean. If you adjust the rudder by just 1 degree, over the course of 1,000 miles, you will arrive at a completely different continent. Revision is that adjustment of the rudder. By changing the meaning of yesterday's event, you shift the destination of tomorrow's journey. You are no longer heading toward resentment and bitterness. You are heading toward harmony and resolution. You are steering the ship of your life with the gentle hand of revision. Do not be lazy with this. It requires mental effort. It requires focus. It is easier to turn on the television and numb yourself than to actively rewrite your day. But the television cannot save you. The distraction cannot heal you. Only you can save yourself. Only you can heal your timeline. Give yourself this gift of 20 minutes at the end of the day. It is the most valuable investment you will ever make. It is the investment in your own sanity and your own destiny. The pruning shears of revision are the tools of the master gardener. The master gardener does not cry when he sees a dead branch. He cuts it off. He knows that the life of the vine is infinite, and it will produce new growth. You must have that same detachment. Do not identify with the dead branch. Do not say, I am a failure. Say, that was a failed attempt, and cut it off. Prune it. Make room for the success that is pushing to get out. Your life is the vine. Your consciousness is the sap. Revision keeps the vine healthy. It keeps the channels open for the sap to flow. Remember, you are doing this for yourself, but you are also doing it for everyone in your world. When you revise a conflict with another, you are releasing them from the role of the antagonist. You are stopping the war in your own mind, and when the war stops in your mind, it must stop in your world. You will find people circling back to apologize. You will find situations resolving themselves mysteriously. This is the magic of the shears. You cut the root of the problem in the mind, and the plant withers in the world. So tonight, as you prepare for the great silence, do not bring the mud of the day into the temple. Wash your feet, cleanse your mind, use the shears, review the day, not to dwell on it, but to redeem it. Make the day what it ought to have been. Make it a masterpiece. And then sleep in the satisfaction of that perfection. Sleep as the one who had a perfect day. Sleep as the one who was victorious. And that victory will become the seed for your tomorrow. The past is yours to command. It is not your master. You are its master. Rewrite it, revise it, redeem it, and walk free. As you become proficient with these shears, you will find your confidence growing. You will no longer fear the events of the day because you know you have the power to fix them at night. You walk through the world with a secret weapon. Nothing can stick to you. Nothing can permanently mark you. You are Teflon to the negativity of the world. You can experience it, learn from it, and then rewrite it. This makes you invincible. This makes you the sovereign of your timeline. Take up the shears. Do not let them rust. Use them daily. Let your garden be a place of beauty, order, and abundance. Let the weeds of the past die for lack of attention. Let the flowers of the future bloom through the power of your revision. The day is done, but the meaning of the day is up to you. Choose the meaning that serves your kingship. Choose the meaning that glorifies your I am. Choose the meaning that leads you home. The shears are in your hand. Cut away the darkness and let in the light. We have arrived at the summit. We have journeyed through the chamber of silence, witnessed the death of the old self, planted the seed in the womb of creation, learned to ignore the mirror of the senses, ascended from beggar to king, and mastered the pruning shears of revision. You now possess the keys to the kingdom. But keys are useless if they remain in your pocket. Knowledge that is not applied is dead weight. It is merely intellectual vanity. The world is full of people who know the law of assumption but live in quiet desperation because they do not live the law. They treat it as a philosophy to be debated rather than a method to be executed. Today, we move from theory to practice. We move from hearing the word to doing the work. I am offering you a challenge, but it is more than a challenge. It is a covenant, a sacred contract between you and your own higher self. I call this the 21 day covenant. Why 21 days? There is a rhythm to the soul just as there is a rhythm to the tides. It takes time to drown out the old habits of thought. It takes time for the new neural pathways to form in the brain and for the new vibration to saturate the subconscious mind. 21 days is a cycle of consecration. It is a period of immersion. If you can hold the state of the wish fulfilled for 21 consecutive days, you will break the back of the old reality. You will sever the cords that bind you to the past. But this covenant requires total commitment. You cannot do it for 3 days, skip a day, and then resume. That is like boiling water and turning off the heat just before it bubbles. You must keep the heat on. You must maintain the pressure until the transformation occurs. Here are the terms of the covenant. First, you must choose one desire. Just one. I know the temptation is to try and fix your entire life at once. You want the money, the relationship, the health, and the career all in one breath. But the sun's rays do not burn until they are focused through a magnifying glass into a single point. You must become that magnifying glass. Choose the one desire that, if fulfilled, would naturally imply the fulfillment of the others. If you have a specific sum of money, does that also give you the freedom to travel? If you have the health, does that also allow you to enjoy your wealth? Find the master key desire. By focusing all your imaginal power on one objective, you create a laser beam of intensity that the subconscious cannot ignore. Do not scatter your force. Be single-minded. As the scripture says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Be stable, be focused, be one. The second term of the covenant is the nightly ritual. For the next 21 nights, you will not go to sleep as the old person. You are forbidden from taking your worries into the bedroom. The bedroom is now your temple. Before you sleep, you will enter the state akin to sleep that we have discussed. You will loop your chosen scene, the handshake, the congratulations, the feeling of the ring on your finger over and over again until you fall asleep in the very act of doing it. You must fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is non-negotiable. If you fall asleep worrying, you have broken the covenant for that night. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you must not let your mind drift to your problems. You must steer it back to the scene. You are a shepherd, and your thoughts are the sheep. Do not let them wander into the wolf's den of fear. Keep them in the green pastures of the wish fulfilled. The third term of the covenant is the diet of the mind. What you do during the day is just as important as what you do at night. You cannot plant a beautiful flower garden at night and then pour acid on it during the day. If you spend your night imagining wealth, but spend your day complaining about the price of gas, you are canceling your own prayer. You are digging up the seed. For these 21 days, you must go on a strict mental diet. You must watch your inner conversations. We are always talking to ourselves, and most of the time, we are arguing, justifying, or complaining. You must stop this. When you catch yourself thinking from the perspective of the old self, you must interrupt the thought. Replace it instantly. If the thought comes, I can't afford this, replace it with, I remember when I couldn't afford this, but now I have an abundance. Keep the tense in the past for the negative and in the present for the positive. This mental discipline is the hardest part of the covenant. The old man will fight for his life. He will throw tantrums. He will point out every flaw in your plan. He will magnify every obstacle in the 3D world. Fat. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are winning. The old self only fights when it is threatened. If it were safe, it would ignore you. The fact that your doubts are screaming means they are dying. Do not engage with them. Do not argue with the doubt. Simply withdraw your attention. Attention is the blood of the mind. If you don't feed the doubt with attention, it must wither and die. Starve the doubt, feed the wish. The fourth term of the covenant is secrecy. You must tell no man. This is a vital spiritual law. Do not share your desire with your friends, your family, or your spouse during this incubation period. Why? Because they will judge it by the standards of the 3D world. They will tell you to be realistic. They will remind you of your past failures. Their doubt will act as a dampener on your vibration. You are carrying a precious seed. You do not expose a seed to the harsh wind. You keep it buried in the dark soil. Keep your dream a secret between you and your higher self. Let the results speak for you. When the harvest comes, they will see it. Until then, contain your power. The pressure of containment builds the explosion of manifestation. If you talk about it, you leak the pressure. Keep the valve closed. Let the steam build until it moves the engine of reality. During these 21 days, you will likely encounter what we call the bridge of incidents. Things may happen that seem unrelated to your goal, or even contradictory to it. You might lose your job before you get the better one. You might have a breakup before you meet the soulmate. Do not judge the appearances. The universe moves in strange ways to rearrange the furniture of your life. If the room is cluttered, the old furniture must be moved out before the new furniture can be brought in. If chaos ensues, stay calm. It is the dust rising from the construction site. It means work is being done. Hold the vision, trust the end, and the means will take care of themselves. Do not try to micromanage the universe. Your job is the what. The universe's job is the how. If you fail one night, if you fall asleep in a bad mood, do not abandon the covenant. Forgive yourself instantly. Use the pruning shears of revision to rewrite that night, and then continue the next day with renewed resolve. Perfection is not required, but persistence is. You are building a new muscle. It will be sore, it will be weak at first, but every time you bring your wandering mind back to the wish fulfilled, you are strengthening that muscle. By the end of the 21 days, you will find that it is easier to think positive thoughts than negative ones. You will have retrained your brain. You will have installed a new operating system. What can you expect at the end of this covenant? You will expect a shift in identity. This is the true prize. Yes, the money will come. Yes, the love will come. But those are just the shadows cast by the new you. The real treasure is that you will no longer be the person who needed those things. You will be the person who has them. You will walk with a different stride. You will speak with a different authority. You will possess a quiet confidence that intimidates the chaos of the world. You will know, deep in your bones, that you are the operant power. This knowledge is worth more than all the gold in the world, because once you have this knowledge, you can generate gold at will. You are no longer the creature of circumstance. You are the creator of circumstance. This covenant is a crucible. It will burn away the dross of your character. It will demand that you stand tall when you want to crawl. It will demand that you believe when you want to doubt. But the reward is a life of limitlessness. Imagine waking up 21 days from now and realizing that the heavy weight you have carried for years is gone. Imagine looking at your bank account and seeing the reflection of your inner wealth. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing the eyes of a master staring back at you. This is not a fantasy. This is the inevitable result of the law of assumption applied with diligence. I am asking you to sign this covenant in your heart right now. Do not say, "I will try." Try is a word of failure. Do not say maybe. Maybe is a word of fear. Say, "I will." Say, "It is done." Commit to this siege. Surround the fortress of your subconscious mind and do not lift the siege until it surrenders to your command. You have the power. You have always had the power. You just forgot how to use it. Now you remember. Now you have the manual. The only question remaining is, do you have the will? Let this be the moment where you draw a line in the sand of your history. On one side of the line is the old you, the victim, the sleeper, the one who drifted through life. On this side of the line is the new you, the awakener, the creator, the one who steers the ship. Step over the line. Do not look back. The past is a graveyard. The future is a garden. Enter the garden. Pick up your tools. Plant your seed. Water it with your attention. Bathe it in the light of your gratitude. And watch it grow. As we conclude this masterclass, I want you to feel the gravity of this moment. This is not just another video you have watched. This is an initiation. You have been given the ancient secrets that have been guarded for millennia. You have been shown the mechanism of reality itself. You can no longer claim ignorance. You can no longer say, I didn't know. Now you know. And because you know, you are responsible. You are responsible for every thought you think from this moment forward. You are responsible for every mood you entertain. This responsibility is not a burden, it is a crown. Wear it well. Do not let the world drag you back into its slumber. The world is a noisy place, filled with distractions and fearmongers. They want your attention. They want your energy. Do not give it to them. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your heart in the Holy of Holies. You are in the world, but you are not of it. You are a traveler from the dimension of imagination, visiting this dimension of shadows to prove your own power. Prove it to yourself. That is the only proof that matters. Remember, you are never alone in this work. The very power that created the galaxies is breathing your breath. The very wisdom that organized the stars is beating your heart. You are supported by the infinite. When you dare to assume, the entire universe conspires to assist you. Coincidences will happen. Doors will open. Hands will reach out to help you. You are walking with God because you are walking as God. The separation is an illusion. The union is the truth. So, go now. The chamber is open. The world awaits your command. Do not ask for permission. Do not ask for validation. Take your authority. Assume your wish. Live in the end. And let the pruning shears of revision keep your garden clean. You are the gardener. You are the architect. You are the king. The scepter is in your hand. Rule your world with love and with imagination. If this message has struck a chord in your soul, if you feel the stirrings of the giant within you, then do not let this connection fade. This is a community of awakeners. We are walking this path together. We are reminding each other of who we truly are. I invite you to join us. Subscribe to this channel. Make this your daily sanctuary. Come back here when the world gets loud. Come back here when you need to remember the law. Share this message with those who are ready to hear it. Let us build a wave of awakening that sweeps across the world, one mind at a time. I leave you now with this final thought. You are far greater than you have ever dared to dream. Your potential is not written in your DNA, it is written in your imagination. And your imagination is limitless. Go forth and bend reality. Go forth and create a masterpiece. It is finished. It is done. You are free.